Hello everyone, I'm back again, and this time I want to talk about the Sonos Arc. Now, I don't have the Sonos Arc, but one of my friends does, and I've also heard it in the store, and I'd like to give you my thoughts on it. So, let's start with the obvious drawbacks of the Sonos Arc. For one thing, the Sonos Arc does not support PCM at the present moment. That means that any content from your Nintendo Switch or older generation gaming consoles will not play. Anything under PCM content will not play. It has to be Dolby Digital or Dolby Atmos. It also doesn't support DTS or DTSX, which, for the price of that particular soundbar, I really think that they should have paid the licensing fees to support the other formats. But that's Sonos for you. They try to go for the most simplistic approach. On the note of simplistic approach, only the Sonos Arc itself is actually Atmos. The rear speakers are not Atmos. Oh sure, they do a good job at being rear speakers and, making things a little bit more immersive. But they don't have upward firing drivers, and they're not programmed to act like upward firing drivers. So, what the Sonos Arc is relying upon, again, just like the other soundbars I've reviewed, is sound reflection. It fires sound at certain angles and in certain ways to kind of create a 3D sound bubble, so long as your room can accommodate its aesthetics. So again, the completely square room is ideal. A room with vaulted ceilings is not ideal. A room with openings all over the place is not ideal. Awkward shaped rooms are not ideal. And yeah, the Sonos Arc also doesn't have any HDMI inputs on it, which means you have to completely rely on ARC, hence the name Sonos Arc. So this can be a good or a bad thing because, it isn't really until last year, and this TV that I've got on camera here is one such example, where it'll actually pass through Atmos over Arc. But most TVs before the year 2019 and 2020 do not do that. So you're kind of limited. Now the Sonos Arc does come with an adapter to, perhaps if you don't have a TV with HDMI ARC, that you could use optical. But you'll lose the Atmos. You won't be able to use it at all. It'll just become a traditional 5.0.2 system. That's the bar on its own. But, oh sorry guys, hold on. But if you, if you want to add the sub and the rears, oh boy, it gets expensive. So it's just like the Bose that I reviewed earlier this month, and I just can't recommend it because of price alone. The Sonos sub is $749. The Sonos Arc is $1,000. The Sonos rears are $200 and something per rear. You can't even get them packaged unless, okay, maybe if you go to Costco you can. But, and then there's the fact that Sonos really limits its user base because unless you're an Apple user, you can't even use their TruePlay technology. TruePlay is the room calibration that Sonos uses in order to calibrate the sound to your room. And while that's great in theory, if you do not have an iOS device, you can't do it. So you can't get the most out of your system unless you're an Apple user, really. And that's why there's been rumors floating about that Apple wants to purchase Sonos. Well, of course they do. Sonos has basically supported Apple 100% from the very beginning. Android users, too bad for you, you can't use TruePlay. Now, that being said, the sound quality is reasonably good. I will say that at higher volumes, the bar seems to compress, which really kind of disappointed me. At the price point that the Sonos Arc is, you would think that it could hit higher volumes no problem, but once it starts to hit higher volumes, the compression starts to kick in. The Sonos Arc bass on its own is okay. It's reasonably good considering it's coming out of just the soundbar, but you're gonna want to buy a Sonos sub, in which case, once again, you're gonna add another $749. What else? The Sonos Arc also supports eARC, but again, if you don't have a TV like this one from 2019 and or 2020, you'll never see the benefit of it. And if you don't have eARC or ARC on your TV, you'll never see the benefit of the Arc in general, which is the major drawback of the entire system. Even worse, you can't even plug devices directly into it. So, no matter what, you have to rely on your TV's processing to process the sound. This can be a good or bad thing. Simplicity is good, but sometimes it's not good. Another major drawback to the Sonos Arc system is the same as any Sonos system, and that is Sonos relies completely on your Wi-Fi connection. If your house loses power, your speakers go dead. Now, mind you, you could argue that that is pretty much the case with any speaker, but hear me out here. With the Sonos, or let's say, for example, you suddenly lose your internet connection, you lose your connection to all of your Sonos speakers, and your Sonos app will not activate them. So, that's a major drawback, and if you don't have a decent Wi-Fi connection, then this system definitely won't be for you, because it relies entirely on your Wi-Fi connection. So one of the ups about Sonos, though, is that, they incorporate so many different music services into their app, and music on the Sonos is just fantastic sounding. Further to that point, Sonos is very modular, so technically, even though I say you should get all of these different components for it, you could just start out with the bar. I just find that just for a single soundbar, $1,000 is a bit much to ask. But hey, to each their own, right? If you're willing to pay that much, maybe go for it. But here's the thing. You can only upgrade to a 5.1.2 system, and then you're stuck. You can't go, 5.1.4. Let me correct myself there. Because you get the two subs in the bar, and then you get the two rears, and yeah. Anyway, you're stuck with that. Now, mind you, if you don't mind the 5.1.4 system, then hey, maybe it's for you. But I personally prefer a little bit more immersion, and, with Sonos coming out with a 9.1.4, Nakamichi already out with a 9.2.4, and, most Atmos systems relying on 7.1.2. I have to say that I'm not overly impressed with this particular decision. So, here's the thing. The Sonos Arc, from what I've heard at my friend's place, it's kind of a jack of all trades, but a master of none. It plays decent sound, Now, mind you, I will say that when it came to Atmos movies, the thing rocked. It was really cool. It really was immersive. With games, though, 50-50. It doesn't exactly have, like, Game Mode Pro like Samsung has, or a game EQ like Nakamichi has. So certain sounds are lost. And then, for music, Sonos just completely kills everything else. It's not perfect, but it's really, really nice sounding, and it just comes out crystal clear. For bass, I will say this. The Sonos sub, oh boy. It's probably one of my all-time favorite subs, and it really does deliver. Like, it pounds. So, I would say it's worth the money, but again, you have to kind of weigh the cost here, because you're already buying a $1,000 bar, and then on top of that, you've got a sub of $749. Like, that's actually almost as much money as the Q90R is. So, yeah. And, Sonos, for TV and stuff, it handles it really well. You can activate a dialogue mode if you want. You can even activate a night mode in the app if you want. Uh, and yeah, another thing about Sonos, and this is just my personal experience with it, is when you're moving speakers around or when you switch speakers to another house, resetting up the system can be a royal pain in the butt. I don't know why it is. It's like it's because the speakers want to use the current or the previous Wi-Fi that you were on, and then you got to set it up on a new Wi-Fi, and the system gets confused. And it is a lot smarter than, a lot of other systems I've used, but it's still a pain in the butt. Do I hate Sonos? No. Do I recommend Sonos, though? If you're a music lover and you've already got Sonos in your house and you don't mind spending $1,000, absolutely. But if you're a gamer, I would say no. If you're a movie buff, 50-50. I'd say yes, because it really does deliver on Atmos movies and also Dolby Digital. But if you're a DTS or a DTSX guy, then no, because it doesn't support them. If your TV doesn't support ARC or eARC, then no. You should get something else, because Sonos Arc will not deliver for you. In conclusion, if you have the money and, Sonos is your cup of tea, then yeah, maybe go get one. But otherwise, I think there are much better options in the form of the Q90R, the Nakamichi, the soon-to-be Samsung 950TS, I think it is. Just so many other different options out there that I think you could really actually get your money's worth, as opposed to blowing all your money on a 5.1.4. You could get more like a 9.1.4 or a 9.2.4. But that will do it for today, guys. If you like this video, give it a like. Share with your friends if you get the chance. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ding that bell if you want to see what I come out with next. And hey, feel free to dispute what I've said about the Sonos Arc. Maybe take my opinion with a grain of salt, because my experience with the Sonos Arc may vary quite a bit from yours. Maybe your room and your setup will do much better than my friends, or what I've seen in store. But that's all for today, guys. Stay healthy and stay safe. Cheers.